A mere 5% of players have mastered Gex, and now I know why. 25 crushing hours, downing every boss without taking a single hit. A level so confusing I had to use a map just to find the exit, and a camera that often refuses to show you what's ahead. This was my first 2D platformer in years, and RetroAchievements turned it into something brutal. But in the middle of all that chaos, I actually started to enjoy it. This is my journey to mastering Gex and why almost no one else has. Gex first launched on the 3DO back in April 1995, but today we're diving into the PlayStation version, which has 42 retro achievements worth 250 hardcore points. And with the Gex Remastered Trilogy dropping this week, what better time to jump in? Be warned, as well as every boss needing to be beaten without taking damage, every boss achievement is also missable. There's also an achievement for grinding 99 lives. Doing that first is smart, it gives you extra chances when the no damage bosses start to wear you down. Just remember, Gex uses a password system and your extra lives won't carry over when you quit. The game has its flaws, the camera's way too zoomed in, and one level of the project is a massive maze that's nearly impossible to navigate without a map or guide. But despite all that, Gex has this weird, wonderful 90s charm, like a forgotten episode of Buffy, full of cheesy quips and crunchy guitar riffs. The plot? Gex is chilling on the couch watching TV when he eats a housefly, which turns out to be a drone sent by Rez, the evil overlord of the media dimension. Gex gets sucked into the world of television and has to collect remotes, smash TVs, and defeat Rez to get back home. So with all that in mind, it's time to dive into Gex's warped world of TV. And where better to start than a haunted graveyard? Welcome to Cemetery and the first level, Frankie and Heli, a twisted mashup of fog, tombstones, and spooky charm. Let's see what this tail-whipping lizard is really made of.
This reminds me of my last few dates.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Gex can tail whip power-ups for health or eat them for buffs. 100 gold flies equals an extra life. He can climb walls and ceilings too, which gives the game a unique feel, though I don't know why the zombies appear to be rocking platform shoes. From time to time, we find hidden teleports that lead to secret areas and bonus games. After collecting plenty of flies in 2 of those, we grab our first remote, clearly visible, and keep moving through the level until we spot a giant TV marking the exit. Unlocking Frankenstein's brother for that remote, I then dive back in to start grinding for 99 lives. This level is easily the fastest and simplest place to grind for lives, so you'll get very familiar with it. Near the start, we head through a crack to the secret portal. After warping close to the bonus, we just backtrack. Tail whipping the camera acts as a checkpoint, letting us climb past spikes and carefully across the top of the level to reach the bonus area. Here you've got to whack the skulls at enemies that appear, all within a time limit. You can jump right as the skull spits out to hit the first enemy, then jump again to nail the second. With a bit of practice, it quickly becomes second nature. Nail a perfect run of 10 enemies and you earn yourself your first piece of a bonus remote needed for the secret planet X, plus the Frankie fight achievement for perfection and 6 extra lives to boot. From there, it's a matter of intentionally dying and repeating the bonus over and over. Thankfully, checkpoints stick even if you switch levels, so coming back is quick and painless. After about 40 minutes of grinding, while binge watching serial kill documentaries on Netflix naturally, we finally unlock 99 red balloons go by. Pressing select on the world map lets us pick and use the remote we collected to unlock the next area. In grave danger, coffins fling Gex into the air and we snag our first fire power-up, which I promptly lose like a total Burke. We also discover these projectors that act as switches popping up throughout the game. Honestly, I'm really starting to enjoy myself, even though I'm not exactly a pro yet. I find my first invincibility power-up and spot the next remote again just sitting out in the open. Thankfully, a lot of the remotes are placed sensibly, which is a relief since some of later levels get pretty confusing to navigate. At the finish, we also grab the Even Stranger Danger achievement. Tomato Soup unsurprisingly has female killer tomatoes which only appear in this level. There are walls in the background we can climb onto to navigate, and once again the remote is in plain sight. We have to avoid slime pits and guillotines on our way to the exit. Make sure to grab the VCR as it it gives us a password for our progress so far. Campbell's Inferno pops and we're on to Disco Inferno. I grabbed some achievements out of order, but I'm showing them like this so you can snag them all in one go. No backtracking needed. We've got 2 remotes to find here, plus a sweet achievement for unlocking the secret bonus, which I only got near the end of my playthrough. Oh, and pro tip, those flames that spit at Gex, you can tail whip them. Took me way too long to figure that out. Disco Inferno has destructible blocks we can whip to open new pathways and sections where it's easier to just climb the ceiling. When you reach this checkpoint and the first remote for our next world, you need Ice Breath to discover the aforementioned bonus. Thankfully, dying at this checkpoint and then a little backtracking is possible as there's a blue fly nearby. Simply break the ceiling above the slime pit to grab it and then head back to the checkpoint. We need to make a bridge out of frozen enemies and can then reach the secret bonus, netting us Disco Dancer. As we push through the rest of the level, watch out for tight gaps and sneaky flame traps. Don't jump on the coffins, they'll fling you back to an earlier spot and mess up your progress. When you get to the Ladybird pickup, climb all the way up to grab the second remote. Then drop down to the right, climb again, and you'll reach the exit unlocking Deadlight Disco. Spin and Puke is our wonderfully titled first boss with Morphina. She begins with rotating skulls but can be quickly tail whipped when she stops flashing. After 3 hits, she turns into my ex-mother-in-law but is easily defeated by standing underneath her to get 3 more quick hits in. This nets us it's Morphina time and Morphine time for slapping her damageless. World 2 is New Toonland, my personal favourite thanks to its vibrant, dopamine-boosting colours. Our first stop here is Twin Towers, which is basically a non-stop vertical climb. True to classic cartoons, we dodge falling anvils and boxing gloves. Tail whipping enemies strips them, and we hop from tower to tower. Honestly, this level nails the design with multiple paths that keeps things interesting without getting confusing. The remote's easy to grab, right above the checkpoint. As we climb higher, we literally reach the stars. Scaling the carrots and stars gave me a bit of trouble at first, thanks to Gex's quirky jump differences when running with L1 or not, but we powered through and earned the Cartoon Climber achievement. We can nab a couple of achievements in our next stage, POW, which is aptly named as there's loads of giant blocks to destroy like in this hidden area. Shortly after this checkpoint, we grab an electric power up to the left before breaking the floor and heading through a secret warp. After dropping down, we can hit another projector and warp to appear right next to where the first remote is hiding. This stage has power-ups pretty much everywhere, so it's a good level to go for double your life or your money back for obtaining 6 health. There's also a VCR just down here. With that collected a little further on, we have to quickly hop across these giant TNT explosives with the remote waiting for us on the other side. Immediately after is the exit and we unlock super power for our efforts. Only use the first remote collected at this point as the achievement tells us not to use both. Rocket has another couple of achievements up for grabs, starting with one for beating New Toonland's bonus stage. I found the bonus completely by accident. When I hit the third blue rocket, I thought I was about to fall to my death, but nope. Secret warp on the left. This one's all about bouncing up the walls and grabbing all 30 flies to earn another piece of the Planet X remote. Head up the right for 3 flies, then cross to the left, grabbing the 4th as you do. The next 8 are in a line as you continue up the left, then cross and drop for 1 more before climbing the right this time. When you reach the platform, use it to fling yourself up and carry on up the left like before, then drop right again for another fly before following the wall up the right all the way to the top. Then simply cross over and drop down the other side for the last couple of flies. Done perfectly, another satisfying achievement in Wall Climber Clamber unlocks. The blue rockets are a nightmare to navigate as a very slight movement causes it to change direction. A little while later, after jumping from rocket to rocket, we have to climb across the ceiling and make our way across to the next checkpoint safely. From here, we follow the arrow of flies. Dropping down on the left allows us to hit a switch before heading right for the first remote of the level. We can also snaffle a few butterfly power-ups, giving us a few extra lives before warping back up. Oh joy! It's time to ride a blue rocket through a narrow gap with spikes above and below. After blowing myself up a few times, I finally managed to ride it skillfully through to the wall on the other side with remote number 2 at the top to commemorate our success. Success was, however, a little short-lived this time with this utterly wonderful butt nugget of a move. Thankfully, from here the exit is but a stone's throw away, and after riding a few more rockets, we finish the stage unlocking an old game of Asteroids. Knock Knock is annoying beyond belief and has you constantly constantly going through doors as the stage shifts from night to day. Keep following the fly arrows and bear with it. Eventually I kept missing a stupid exit, so after these green platforms, head through the door and then drop down in the middle for the next door. Then take the right of these 3 doors and head right. Through the next door we climb, then hit the switch below the stars. We can then head back through the door we just came, and who's there pops for our success. Jesus H, I'm glad that's over. Boss number 2 is the Flatulator. Yes, really. And beating him comes down to listening for his farts and timing your jumps, since the camera rarely shows both him and Gex at the same time. Stick to the middle to avoid anvils dropping on either side. After a few gassy bursts, he takes to the air, and that's your cue to climb to the ceiling and finish the job. Timing tail swipes to drop anvils on his head is a pain. He moves fast and the window's tight. Luckily, you usually get 3 or 4 chances before having to drop down. If you see an anvil set at the side, that means he's about to drop, and when he does, he always bolts to the right, so if he lands to your left, get ready to jump. The cycle repeats until you've bonked him with enough anvils, and finally he goes down, leaving behind the Jungle World remote and unlocking No Problemo for beating him, plus Prancing Prune Juice for doing it without taking a hit. You literally can't enter the Jungle World without being assaulted by what might be the worst yet catchiest song I've heard in ages. It sounds like someone got locked in a room with a sampler and just went absolutely feral. It's a crime against music, and I kind of love it. Feeding Frenzy is up first, and we spend a large amount of our time on rafts, trying to avoid being eaten by the ferocious fish. Being situated at the riverside, the remotes are really easy to spot, with the first on a plinth above the water and the second almost immediately after. Reaching the end, and Skeletonize a cow day pops as we finish. Congo Chaos brings us a remote and a bonus stage, but this time the level scrolls left after you hit the button, so you've got to move carefully or risk getting pancaked by the edge of the screen. After a tricky walled section, try to stay up top. You'll need to drop down into the bonus and make sure you're holding up as you fall, or you'll miss it entirely. And as for the bonus stage, I'll just let you watch it. It's a mess. The flies have mysteriously changed colour to camouflage with the waterfall. Thanks for that, Crystal Dynamics. Also, notice I'm walking, not running, because running makes Gex skid around like he's on rollerblades made out of butter. A successful bonus this time awards us Buggerfall, as well as our next Planet X remote piece. Shortly after the speed boost power up, the remote is basically unmissable, and at the end, if you're feeling fruity, you can head back for more bonuses. Finishing up, we get Aztec Antics and move on to the next level. Our next damageless challenge takes place in the vertical nightmare that is Jungle Gym. The goal? Climb all the way to the top without taking a single hit. Simple, right? Wrong. This level is a chaotic mess which will have you feeling like a yo-yo. At several points, you'll need to pull off running leaps onto platforms barely wider than a gymnast's beam, all while dodging an angry dragon and praying your jump doesn't turn into an accidental nosedive. Trust me, it will. The best strategy here is speed. Jump quickly, keep your momentum, and when there's a platform directly overhead, hold the jump button to give Gex a little extra air. Later on, you'll need to use L1 to stretch your jumps, but be ready to immediately let go, or you'll fly right past your target like the platform is greased with oil. After sacrificing a shameful number of lives, I finally landed the flawless run for Jungle Jumper, and picked up Sun Snake Sniper earlier in the run when I wasn't attempting it without getting hurt. With that utter abomination out of the way, it's time to visit Kung Fu-ville and Sumo City, the first Eastern-themed stage.
Hope this is the year of the gecko.
Kung Fu-ville features a few questionable lines.
Doer. Slim fast. Gangway, Tubby.
And we can grab some air by bouncing on the sumo guys' bellies. Next up, we're sprinting across bridges made entirely of fireworks, because nothing says structural integrity like explosives, while dodging pits of what I assume is lava. Once you survive that explosive obstacle course, there's a quick tail bounce you can do to reach a hidden bonus warp. This one's actually a breather, just a golden fly scavenger hunt around the stage. Scoop up all 150 and your reward rewarded with a shiny new Planet X remote piece and the wonderfully named Locusts of the Dark achievement, which sounds way more dramatic than the task itself. Finally, after a quick dip in the water and stumbling across an underwater TV that naturally still works perfectly, because why wouldn't electrics function at the bottom of a pool, we wrap up the level and unlock the lyrics to Funky Chinatown without a single electrocution. Fishbait is our second mostly underwater stage, because nothing screams 90s 2D platformer more than a subaquatic death trap with toxic turning water, malicious octopuses, and electric eel-infested pools. Look for the remote after navigating a submerged cave system with spitting statues. This time on completion, we nab Chomp for our successful remote control capture. Chop feels like Sumo City's slightly more dangerous cousin, only this time we have spiked ceilings en route to an almost unmissable remote. Then there are falling plinths you have to scramble up on your way out, because why not add a little urgency to the mix? And just like that, laundry day pops right after you're wrapping things up, because nothing says victory like dodging spikes and falling platforms while thinking about your washing. Our next boss is Toxic Turtle, our latest damageless challenge, but don't worry, this one's surprisingly tame. Start by climbing the wall immediately and land a tail swipe mid-jump. Just be careful not to get too close, as you can still get hit while attacking. Once he finishes spinning across the top, head back up the wall to dodge his projectiles, then drop down and land another hit when the coast is clear. This pattern repeats a few times, with the turtle's attacks and ego growing slightly each round. With Toxic Turtle finally defeated, we earn a flawless toxic power, and I already picked up Turtle Avengers earlier for the test run. With that out of the way, we arrive at Resopolis, which we'll start tackling before heading off to Planet X. We have to do it in this order because defeating Res actually ends the game, and we're not quite done yet. Since we're still missing the full bonus remote, our next stop is Res Night Fever. This level feels like someone's blended Sonic 1's Scrap Brain Zone with Sonic 2's Chemical Plant, an industrial fever dream full of toxic bubbles which you can actually tail swipe, and a maze of pipes that Gex somehow manages to navigate without getting chemically exfoliated. The remote is located immediately after a checkpoint before a pipe system, so it's easily grabbed. As we enter the final pipe, we're treated to a fun little loop of going absolutely nowhere, just endlessly circling until the bubble passes and we can exit the pipe safely. Ensure as you exit you're holding left, otherwise you'll plummet to your death. After a swift tail flick and a final climb, we net Saturday night Livewire as we escape. Brace yourself for maximum frustration, because our final remote piece comes from a downright devious bonus stage hidden in On The Move. A level lovingly packed with conveyor belts designed specifically to ruin your day. After a lengthy gauntlet of flying televisions and a cautious climb past rising bubbles, we leap to the left and our final bonus area. This time we have to smash barrels, which quickly turns into an absolute nightmare thanks to conveyor belts that seem personally designed to sabotage your every move. The trick? Stay as central and off those cursed belts as you can while smashing the first few barrels mid-air, because once you hit the second half, chaos really kicks in. When you inevitably lose control and start flying all over the place, just run, jump and flail like your life depends on it, smashing whatever barrels you can catch. The only mercy? The developers clearly had a moment of clarity and decided you only need to break 27 out of 30 barrels to unlock the final remote piece, which is basically a participation trophy for surviving this mess. Teleprompter achieved, and with a quick dive to our demise, we can use our completed remote to make our way to Planet X. Saucer section is a brutal test of patience. You've got to climb this wall while dodging UFOs that seem hell-bent on squeezing you into the tiniest gaps imaginable. Basically, if you blink, you're toast. To make things worse, you have to replenish your health by tail swiping pickups from the front of the wall, because apparently falling to your death is the game's idea of a health bonus. This one took me a solid half hour of pure unfiltered agony to beat. The only consolation? The ridiculously catchy EDM beats blasting in the background, making you want to dance your frustration away. Oh, if only we had the time. As soon as the second part begins, fit snugly to the bottom right to avoid the saucer. Then quickly head top left, then bottom left before staying bottom right to wait out the next few. Then head up to the top right before climbing back down to the bottom left and then the back half of the middle. As you can see, the circling UFOs aren't too bad to tackle, just don't miss the remote. The final ships are faster, so be ready to react quickly. With that nightmare over, Super Saucey is our well-earned badge of honor. After that debacle, I set myself up for another round of pain, but was immediately relieved to pass freefall without any issue on my first try. Our fall is guided by a path of golden flies, and after the screen is filled with them, stay central for the remote. In a little under a minute, we grab our next unlock with Electric Fella. Bombs away is yet another farcical challenge, the kind that makes you wonder if the level designer was just winging it. After sliding down the initial path and entering a warp, all we have to do is drop straight to the bottom to hit a checkpoint and grab the remote. Easy, right? Well, not quite. You're then greeted by a pack of extremely irate aliens with grenade launchers. We dodge them on the way up and climb the ceiling before dropping down to a hidden warp that whisks us off to the exit, where the generously easy Bomb Bay Burst unlocks with barely a struggle. I hope you enjoyed that respite, because head-to-head is next, and it's gunning for every one of our 94 remaining lives. A quick and massive thanks to Rainbow Mon 2 for explaining that holding jump and up gives a higher bounce. I didn't realise this, and it saved me literal hours of pain. The trick here is to wait for the robots to line up perfectly with the golden flies. Then hit your first tail bounce while holding down for a small hop, and the second while holding up. Sounds simple enough, but trust me, it's still a total pain in the backside. Fortunately, with this tactic and the gift of a couple of checkpoints, we managed to scrape through, grab the remote, and unlock Hothead hop basically. Cue a huge, exhausted sigh of relief. Newton's fourth law is thankfully pretty straightforward. A single linear path filled with the simple joy of flipping switches to avoid falling into vats of toxic gunk. Delightful. Once you hit the checkpoint and see the arrow of flies, make sure to run left to grab the remote first. If you don't run, the collapsing floor will ruin your chances. After that, it's just a casual stroll through laser traps and suspended water, all in a day's work of course, before reaching the next achievement, Situation Normal, all fourthed up. And now it's time for the project. Allow me for a moment to show you the map on screen and why you need a guide to this disaster piece of a level. I used a video guide which I've linked below. From the start, head left, then drop down and go left again. When the path ends, we need to climb up to the right and continue following the path. At the next fork, climb up and continue climbing higher, then head right and down. As you head right, when you reach the next fork, go up and left, then climb up and go left again. Then left at the top and keep climbing before heading right. At the next fork, continue left, then follow the path before heading down and then down again. Then jump and head across to the left before climbing up past the two paths to the right. At the top, head right to the end and then climb up. Then head right all the way and drop down continuing right. Go right again past the next two forks and drop down and go right a third time. Follow the path down and right, then head right again and climb up to the top and go right. Head right again past the next fork, then jump up and go right. Climb up, then go up again and follow the path to the left. Go across the next gap and up at the end. Follow it left, then drop down and go right before dropping down again and heading left. Jump across and keep going before climbing up and jumping across to the left. Jump across the next gap and go left again to keep following the path which eventually leads to the remote. Now try to imagine doing that in 1995 without a map or guide, and be thankful as I was that we don't have to. With that, we unlock May's game, but unfortunately we're not done with the project just yet. Now it's time to head back in to find the project himself, who could possibly be Lyle Hall, Gex's creator. Here we go. This time head right and jump the gap and climb straight up, then head left and climb up. Follow the path right, then drop down and continue right. Hop over and drop down the right hole, then keep following it left. Then drop one floor and double back to the right. Drop down and head left, then drop down and left again. Follow the path up and around, then right and drop down and go left. As it snakes right, head up and right. Continue following the pathway until the next fork, where we climb up and continue on. Head to the top, then right, and follow the path around before hopping over the gap and dropping down to head left, then immediately back up. Head right, then climb up and head down the fourth left. Follow the path, then head up through the second path on the left. Follow this path up and around quite some way further, and eventually we reach this 4-way fork. Climb up the little gap and drop down by pressing up to walk to this odd little segment. Tail whipping the project a few times kills him and unlocks Walk It Off before we thankfully can put the project behind us for good. Our next stop is the Web, a level where for reasons unknown we get to pilot helicopters. The main challenge? Guiding the chopper around while jumping off just in time to dodge death lasers. It's basically platforming meets air traffic control. At one point I accidentally stumbled into what I think was a shortcut to the first checkpoint, which was either clever routing or dumb luck. Probably both. We carry on to the right, climbing a wall along the way and hit the correct warp to score our next checkpoint and remote. The final stretch has us riding 2 helicopters upward, hopping between them to avoid more lasers, and with a little luck and a lot of near-death moments, we wrap it all up and unlock Hey Lewis, I'm on the Interweb. I have no idea what's going on in Clothesline. At first glance it looks like some high-stakes hurdle jumping gauntlet, but turns out all you have to do is crouch and stand still. That's it. Peak action. But hey, after navigating the project, I'm not questioning anything. If the game wants to hand me a freebie wrapped in confusion, I'll take it with a smile and a shrug. We round things off by collecting a VCR for our next password and unlocking the gloriously titled No Clotheslines in Nude Fungicides, which frankly raises more questions than it answers. Planet X is behind us, and with just a handful of achievements left, it's time to wrap up On The Move. Not that it's going to let us off easy. Even after reaching the checkpoint earlier, this undeniable nightmare still took me a full half hour to beat. The lethal combo of conveyor belts and toxic bubbles had me flailing for far too long. Eventually I reached the next checkpoint just before my bubble burst. Literally, the final sinister section is practically begging to be tamed. It throws in a perilous ceiling climb, bouncing on bubbles over massive gaps, and even makes you cling to the ceiling and crawl against a conveyor belt that's actively trying to throw you off, all while bubbles rise up to ruin your day. After one more drop and a final wall climb holding left as you fall, and just like that we've earned TV guiding light for surviving this mechanical madhouse. I hope you've enjoyed our journey as we're on to the final hurdle before Gex is done with his first adventure. Rez is no pushover, and it took me north of an hour of practice to beat him without taking damage. Props to Rez for his dastardly laugh and waggling digit. Menacing indeed. A final warning before I break it down: if you kill Rez and he's just started a laser attack, this happens. Yep, nothing says you failed quite like losing 2 health while off screen while Rez is dying in a melodramatic fashion. I can tell you, I made a few choice words as I nabbed home is where the box office is, ending the game and forcing me to use a password and bonus level grind just so I could go again.
This looks like an all-nighter at Richard Simmons' house.
After an hour of pure frustration, aka practice, I finally managed to get this bit in one go. Begin letting the remote Rez throws past you and jump over it to scale the wall as it comes back. Use the TVs to hop across to the other side and tail swipe the container and eat the fly inside. It's possible to shoot Rez from here, but I wouldn't recommend it as he moves quite quickly. Instead, head down the wall as he charges and stay there until he finishes shooting, then head back up the wall to avoid the second attack. Use the TVs to hop back over to the left and Rez becomes an easily avoidable tornado. Run underneath him when you have a chance, and as soon as he changes back, hit him where it hurts. Rez has final boss privileges clearly because he becomes invincible after being hit for longer than it takes to explain the plot of Inception. The cycle repeated for me here, and so I was able to hit again. After 2 hits he becomes way more deadly. His speed increases and he shoots faster. His next trick is falling and exploding laser beams. With the first set, hug the wall on the left, then as soon as it disappears, leg it to the right, being careful to stop before running into him. Do not hit him yet, as he will fly towards you, making this 10 times harder. Instead, keep avoiding the lasers till the 4th set and hit him before retreating back to the wall. His next tactic is more lasers, but don't panic as there's ample room between them. Just walk forward ever so slightly each time to slot in in the next gap, and after the 5th, shoot him again and retreat. His final tactic is shooting lasers from his eyes, which is easily avoidable by staying high. After he's done with this move, he will fly to the left corner, so don't drop till after he does. Don't shoot him yet, but instead run to avoid the next laser beams, which come in sets of 3. After 3 sets, shoot him if you have ammo, or repeat the earlier step across to the right like I had to. Upon returning, he does the same as before, so stay up high. I managed to sneak the final shot in while he was doing this for our final achievement, High Res Rampage, and Res is mastered! With a victory so grand it deserves a slow motion montage and triumphant music. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more wholesome retro goodness. Or why not check out why avoiding precursor orbs is my favourite achievement ever. Until next time, remember, retro always rules.